This gospel spirituality, which is like a two-edged sword, focuses on prayer. Alphonsus' spirituality is one which emphasizes the importance of prayer in our lives. Alphonsus wrote a book called Prayer, the Great Means of Salvation. And one of his great lines in that book is, "If you pray, you will be saved. If you do not pray, you will be lost." There's a great quotation in that book where Alphonsus, in the beginning, he says, "I exhort," and I cannot emphasize enough, that all writers in their books, all preachers in their sermons, all confessors in their admonitions to their penitents must emphasize the great importance of continual prayer. If you pray, you will be saved. If you do not pray, you will end up spending eternity wandering lost and aimless without direction. Alphonsus was very knowledgeable in the various types of prayer: vocal prayer, meditation or mental prayer, and contemplative prayer or prayer of the Spirit. And what he communicated, wanted to communicate to the poor and those who he worked most closely with, was that meditation or mental prayer was something which they had access to. And he gave them a very, very simple method. And I'd like to show you how this is deeply tied to his spirituality. You begin, and this type of beginning must permeate your entire session of prayer, with silence or solitude of heart. For it is in this silence and solitude of heart which permeates the entire period of meditation where God speaks to us. And then we begin with a preparation. We say, "Lord, I believe in you. Lord, have mercy on me. I am sorry for my sins. And Lord, show me the way. Give me light." And then you move into the body of meditation through reflection, affection, petition, and resolution. In the reflection, this is the time when you meditate upon the gospel narrative and how it applies to your life. And after that period of reflection on the gospel narrative and how it applies to your life, you try to get in touch with your affections, your emotions. What is your heart telling you? And you express those affections to God in a loving manner. And once you do that, then you try to get in touch with your needs. What is my need? And Alphonsus encouraged us to get in touch with all of our needs, express them to God, and then eventually, in time, we will get in touch with our deepest need, which is our need for God. And we ask God to come to us. And then we focus on, okay, now, what must I do? What does God want me to do? He wants us to make a resolution. Alphonsus being very, very practical. And then at the end of this period of meditation or mental prayer, we come to a closing. We thank God for guiding us and giving us light. We ask Him to help us to put into practice what we said we would, and we ask for the grace of perseverance. And as I close, I just want to point out how meditation itself, Alphonsus' understanding of mental prayer, embraces this gospel spirituality. In the reflection, we are immersing ourselves in the gospel narrative. In the affections, we are getting in touch with our hearts and expressing our spirituality of heart. In the emphasis on petition, we are focusing on our needs, and we recognize that all of us before God are poor. Alphonsus emphasized to the Redemptorists that if you wish to help the poor, you must be in touch with your own inner spiritual poverty, your own need for God. And that should propel each one of us to make a decision, to do something. And that is Alphonsus's spirituality of practice. So Alphonsus's gospel spirituality, his spirituality of the two-edged, double-edged sword which points to mission, is encapsulated in his whole method of meditation or mental prayer. It's a gospel spirituality, a spirituality of heart, a spirituality of need and petition, of getting in touch with our inner poverty, and a spirituality of practice.